Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919 Truth to Sports coming to you with another segment. This is my first breakdown of one of the Colorado games. I missed the first two games. I was out of town traveling up and down the road, so didn't really have an opportunity to break it down like I normally do. If you've heard me before, I don't just freelance it. I actually go back, I record the games, go back and watch it again. Then I, go off of the stats and the notes that I took during the game, and then I create my after the game breakdown of what I saw and what I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. This is what I learned about Coach Prime's coaching staff and the loss to Houston, 36-20. Um, First of all, this showed that Shador will be missed big time for a while up until they get an established quarterback and we can kind of figure out how that quarterback is actually going to be playing. So Shador will be missed more so than Travis. This showed me that Coach Prime is a recruiter and a motivator, not a coach. And this is not to bring him down. I've been saying this since I've been doing these for the last couple of years. He always shows disinterest to me on the sidelines. He doesn't seem to be really into the X's and O's, to the schemes, to the plays, to anything that's going on. To me, he's kind of just watching the game. And right now, with this team struggling, he needs to be really look involved and really giving his input. And he needs to have a play sheet in front of him, if you ask me. This game also showed me that they will struggle all season. Even if they win their next game, they're going to struggle for the season, I believe. And I'm going to do a segment on that. They cannot consistently pass. They obviously can't stop the run. Staub should be the third string quarterback. I'm kind of disappointed in Staub. He did work hard. He did earn a situation where he should get put into a game. But for him to kind of stink it up to me, given this opportunity, which is rare for a third string quarterback to be given a whole game, really a game and a half to prove himself. That really happens on that level without injuries happening, and none of the quarterbacks in front of him was injured. So that was a golden opportunity that I think he messed up. You may not see him the rest of his career now, if you want me to be honest. Salter should be the starter, no question about that. The Delaware game was very misleading. Those games are called money games, and I understand that, but it can also make you believe in something that's not really there. It can make you feel like you're better than what you are. It's designed to get you a win, and I understand that. But that Delaware game was very misleading and got a lot of people really high up on this team. And when they came up against Houston, another team they should have beat, they look bad. I already stated they can't stop the run. The team showed no resilience in the game, meaning when they get behind, you can kind of pretty much feel like it's over. When Shador was there, you can be down two touchdowns. You felt like when Colorado got the ball that they would make something happen to stay in the game and to win the game. And of course, they won a lot last year. And without Shador, it's going to be hard for the offense to be productive. More so, I'm saying that because we don't know, we know with the two quarterbacks, Salter and the freshman, what they can really do. We haven't, really seen them in a tough position. So let me go ahead and get right into it. The offense, which is led by Pat Shermer and Coach Andre, the run to pass ratio was 23 runs to 35 passes. That's pretty decent, but you got to get more rushes. Colorado is known not to be a running organization or a running team, but they need to. You got to run the football. You got to be very, very, very good at passing. But I don't like that ratio, especially for this year's team. The offensive line only gave up 3 sacks, which is good for them. We know what they went through the last couple of years, but to only give up 3 sacks, you have to give them credit for that. They have very good running backs, but they didn't feature any of them, which I don't understand. Staub led the team in carries with 11. Simeon Price had 5, and that's just a misuse of very good running backs. They have legit running backs. They have very productive running backs. They can catch up the backfield. They can run. They can run tough. They can run in between the gaps, so you can pitch it out to them. They got pretty good speed, and as I just said, they can catch the ball out of the backfield. Um, but they don't use them. And anytime Staub is leading the team in carries, that says a lot about your team and what you got going on right now. I wish the offense would get rid of that behind the line of scrimmage lateral passes. I just don't. They don't work for Colorado. I don't like when anybody runs it really because I think very good cornerbacks can really react to that and get to those guys very quickly. Every now and then that play works. I'm not just talking about Colorado. Now I'm talking about other teams I see running. I just don't like that play, and I hope Colorado takes that out of their playbook. By halftime, the offense had only produced 14 points against Georgia Tech. They only produced 10 against No, yeah, against Georgia Tech, they only produced 10, and they, of course, they had 17 against Delaware, which I don't really like to count that, but they're not really putting up a lot of points. 14 is not too bad to have. For the game, Staub went 19 for 35 for 204 yards, one touchdown. Um, and again, he was second in rushing attempts with 11, and he ended up with 36 rushing yards. So overall, I give the O line a C plus because they only produced 204 yards passing and 96 yards rushing, and it took five running backs to get those yards. So they didn't do awful. But I just give them a C plus, which of course is not good if you want to be one of the top teams. Let's move on to the running backs, which are coached by Coach Marshall Falk. Everybody knows who Marshall Falk is. For the game, they didn't have any impact on the game at all, which I kind of talked about before. The running backs as a whole only carried the ball 12 times for 61 yards, and that's excluding the quarterback and what he did. I'm talking about strictly running backs. They also had two touchdowns. One was by Simeon Price and one was by Zach Atkins. So that's good. But again, when Staub is your leading rusher, it's bad, especially when you have good running backs that are back there. They should be getting the ball, even though Staub is a tough runner, not taking nothing from the kids' talents. But when you have, to me, stud running backs, you need to let them be stud running backs. They should not be watching their quarterback, especially a third string quarterback, out rushing them. I just don't think it makes any sense. Against Georgia Tech, they carried the ball 31 times for 146 yards and one touchdown. So that tells you how far they dropped from another legit team as far as how much they were running the ball. They ran it, very good against Georgia Tech. And by the way, just to let you all know, I don't know if you keep up with the stats, they haven't had a 100-yard rusher for the season yet, and that's even when they played against Delaware, and that says a lot. And I want Marshall Falk because I know when Coach Hart was coaching, I was like, man, fight for your running backs room. Go to Coach Prime and tell him we need to run our guys more. They should have had a 100-yard rusher by now in the first three games of the season. But the rushing game only produced 96 yards and two touchdowns. I give them an F for production. They just had no impact on the game, and they got studs back there. Then they have a stud coach. Move on to the wide receivers. The wide receivers, which is led by Coach Jason Phillips. The receivers look, they look, decent. They look decent. Yard wise, this was their best game. They had 13 against. I think they had 13. It was 13 catches for 143 yards and zero touchdowns against Georgia Tech, if I'm not mistaken. Um, they had against Delaware. They had 39 catches for 130 yards and two touchdowns. In this game, they had 19 catches for 204 yards and one touchdown. So yardage wise, this is the most yards they've had. Amarian Miller led the receivers with three catches for 54 yards, which to me is terrible. The tragedy to me is Amarian Miller is not the focus of the receivers. He only has four catches and 93 yards for the season. He doesn't even have 100 yards for the season, three games in, and that's terrible with the amount of talent we know that he has. Before he got hurt, he proved that he could catch the ball and that he can make things happen. They need to focus on him. I believe a receiver, one of your top receivers, should average around 8 to 9 catches, or at least 10 targets maybe, but and out of those 10 targets, maybe between 7 to 10 catches at least. Um, and they just don't focus on him too much. I mean, to have only not to have 100 yards in your first three games, and you should be one of the top receivers on the team. I just don't think that's good. Joseph Williams had the only touchdown for the receivers. Congratulations to him. Staub did move the ball around. He hit 9 different receivers. Um, but overall, the receiving core is basically even with the Houston receiving core as far as production. Um, Colorado had 19 catches for 204 yards and one touchdown. Houston had 15 catches for 222 yards and zero touchdowns. So the receiving room, they looked okay. I give them a C minus. They could be a whole lot better. Let's move on to the defense. The defense, which is led by Coach Livingston, Coach Hart, Coach Mathis, Coach Hilo, Coach Pecco, and Coach Sapp. Excuse me if I'm saying Pecco, your name wrong. The defense looked bad. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They can't stop the run. This defense is a big step down from last year. Um, Number 9, Bayard, had 14 total tackles with an assisted sack. He looked very good. Brendan Davis also had an assisted sack along with Bayard. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. They gave up 222 passing yards, but the issue was they gave up 53 rushes for 209 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Of course, they couldn't stop it. The line couldn't stop them. Their linebackers couldn't stop anybody. And football, if you can't stop the run, or if you can't make them um, earn yardage, they're going to run the ball to death, and it's going to get worse within the Big 12 conference if they don't figure something out. They only gave up 84 rushing yards against Delaware, but they gave up 320 against Georgia Tech. They gave up 20 points in the second half and 36 for the game. That's the most points that they've given up all season, by the way. Again, they're a bad defense. They're a step down from last year. I give them a complete F. I thought they was really, really bad. The kicking game, the special teams coach, Michael Pollock, there was only 1 point punt for the whole game. Mata looked good. He made his extra points. The special teams only gave up 33 yards between the punt and kick returns. Now, if I had to give a player of the game, I would choose Bayard. He had 14 tackles, an assisted sack, and he had 8 solo tackles. He's gonna make a name for himself if he keeps playing. If he keeps playing like he's playing, because as far as him, he's hitting, he's getting tackles, and he did get into get an assisted sack on the quarterback. So I'm gonna do another breakdown as far as how I feel like they're going to be for the season. But it is what it is. Colorado, I think they're 1-2 now. They took the loss to Houston 36-20. They look pretty bad. The coaching, the head coach looked bad, and the players look bad. So they should be able to turn it around against Wyoming. But I'm gonna do some research on Wyoming to figure out if this is going to be a good game for Colorado to win. But it's been Hunt 919 Truth to Sports. Ride with me. Hunt 919 Truth to Sports. Ride with me.